I was just taking a nap in my BMW here because it's broken down. I'm just kidding, it's not broken down, at least not yet. Anyways, I got this cool little inexpensive scan tool that is specific for BMWs, and supposedly we can access all of the systems in a BMW with this thing, and it's got a lot of special functions as well. So let's go ahead and check it out. This is the Ancel BM700. Full disclosure, guys, Ancel did send me this for free to try out. However, other than the free product, they're not paying me an actual like dollar amount to make this review, and that's just fine with me because I like to keep these reviews honest. I'm going to tell you what I like, and if I find any issues with stuff, I'm definitely going to let you guys know. And I think this also gives the companies an opportunity to make their products better. Here are the special functions. We'll go over those in a little bit. And also it does basic OBD2 functions with like any vehicle. Got the reader itself to USB micro, and we also got the manual hiding in here. It does give you some info about that 20-pin round adapter for the older BMWs pre-OBD2. Real quick, guys, I'm going to try out the basic OBD2 function on the 4Runner here. I got the Topdon TB6000 on here, giving us a 6 amp supply charge. And it looks like it's right here. And it powers on right away. We'll just go to tool setup for now. We can change the language, and that beeper is kind of annoying every time you hit a button, so I'll just go ahead and turn that off. There's instructions at display. We'll just leave that on for now. Unit of measure, we'll do imperial, and then it's got the skin style, gem blue. Keep it on sky gray, looks better. And it looks like we got feedback, and I guess if you kind of run into a problem, you can give them feedback, but I think you have to do that through the computer. To device information, I'm just going to take a picture of this so we can make sure this thing is up to date. We got 2 shortcut buttons. IM is for emission monitors, and it also has read DTC. Before you hit one of those, you definitely want to turn key on, engine off, and we'll try the emission monitors one. Looks like it gives you some other information as well. Tell you if your check engine light is on, how many DTCs, and how many pending DTCs. And here are all your emission monitors. My cat monitor is not set. I clicked on it, it just tells you what the colors mean, but we'll go ahead and hit escape, and then we can hit read DTC. There's no fault codes. And let's click on OBD2, see what we got. And it kind of just comes up with the status information. Let's hit OK. We can erase codes, evap system test. Not support it, but we'll go to the data stream. We can view all items. We'll just go ahead and remove the supply charge and start the engine. Scroll through and see all of the information. Right now we're in open loop. The engine's cold, so we gotta wait a little bit for that to turn on. Basically all your OBD2 data PIDs. Let's go back, and I guess we can select individual items, calculate it, load value, and long-term fuel trim. So it's pretty basic. I do wish they would have put you know, just some simple graphing on here. I mean, we have a color screen and everything. It's definitely possible. And I'll go ahead and unplug it. There does not appear to be any battery inside this thing. So if you lose power to it, it's lights out. Okay, next, let's go ahead and make sure this thing is up to date. And we're just going to the anceltech.com, download, make an account. Now that we made an account, in the download section, you just click on which device you have. The current software on here look to be 2.11, and it looks like 2.12 is available, and I believe it's this one. I'm not sure the difference between these two, but I'll click on this one. Automatically starts downloading, and it is a RAR file, so you'll need WinRAR to be able to open it. And click on it and extract it. Here is the unzipped file, so you can go ahead and open that. Plug it in with the included USB cable. Click on the update exe, and we'll try update. It looks like it's working. Make sure not to disconnect it while it's updating, or you might break it. Successful, and it has been updated. Okay, next let's go ahead and test it out on the BMW. It's a 525i, and I do like how fast it's ready to go. But before we go into the 4BMW section, let's just go over these really quick. Oil reset. So nothing comes up. I wonder if it just resets it, like it's a really quick thing. Then here to the service. Next we have the electronic parking brake reset. This doesn't have an electric parking brake. It's just good old fashioned, but the newer ones do. Let's go to BAT. Before I do this, I'm going to remove the supply charge. So the engine's off. There's our current voltage, and we'll hit OK. Start the engine. Oh, there we go. So that is cool. It gives you the running voltage, and it basically shows you how low the voltage went while it was starting, and it shows you that recovery curve. And next to that we have the BMS reset engine control module. Click on that. We can register a battery replacement, and the thing about these BMWs is when you replace the battery, you have to register the replacement, or else it kind of causes like weird electrical issues, like the clock will kind of reset when the vehicle's off. But it looks like we can register the battery. We can evaluate the battery charge state. It's giving us a communication error. Let me turn the engine off. Might just have to be key on. Now it's working. It's got two options here. It tells us the current percent state of charge of the battery, and that seems about right because I haven't driven it in a couple days. That's pretty neat. We'll click OK. Let's see if 2 is the same thing. Oh, so it's something different. Tells you how long it's been in each kind of state of charge. It's showing, you know, almost 6,000 hours in 40 to 60. Click next. It spent the most time between 60 and 80%. So that way you know if the battery has spent a lot of time being like fully discharged. Go to register battery change, and you can use the front to back buttons to go through the information about it. And we'll hit OK. So it tells you at what mileage the battery has been replaced, and it says 0 kilometers. I know that is not correct because I know this battery has been registered like about 2 times. I'm not going to do that right now because I haven't replaced my battery. But anyways, let's go to ETC reset. N52 engine just has 1 DME. So that's kind of interesting. We can do a Valvetronic learning. Like say you replace the Valvetronic motor, you know, do a learning procedure for that. It says they are learned in the next step, and says turn off engine. Engine's not running, and terminal 15 is on. Go ahead and hit OK. And it says, gives us a communication error again. Let's try one more time. Let's try the second one. Okay. It says it was reset. They switch off terminal 15 and terminal R. Wait 15 seconds until new adaptation values have been saved in the DME. So if you hit OK, it starts counting down. And see if we have any problems. All systems okay. So it looks like it's good to go. It'll probably have to relearn all the adaptations like fuel trims and stuff like that. Let's try to do the Valvetronic limit position learning. So it gives you some information about it. Let's hit OK. All right, we'll just pull the key out. And when the main relay shuts off, I believe the start stop button light turns off. Okay, it has finally turned off, so we'll hit OK. And it says delete the extreme position in the next step, and it says to turn on the ignition. It says the engine speed's 0, so we can hit OK. Limit position successfully learnt. And I think I did hear that motor. It tells you if that fault code was entered. Try to clear the fault code memory, and we'll just go back to the main menu, and that's all the little shortcuts here. So next, let's go to for BMW, and it tells you about that 20 pin round connector, and those are all the vehicles that it'll work on. But this is a 2007, so it definitely doesn't have that. First, it's got last test record. Below that, we have BMW, Mini, and Rolls-Royce, and we can also manually select the system. All systems. Yeah, with all systems, you can go through all the available systems that any of these cars may have. There's 103 of them. And let's actually enter my BMW. It's a 5 Series, E60, 01 to 2010. This is an 07. So let's check out the basic functions. And let's do a system scan. And it looks like it was able to read all of the modules in this BMW, and that is quite cool. I don't know if I'm going to go through every single one. Let's just go into the ARS, see what's going on here, read fault codes. I have no idea what that means. There's not a whole lot of information, but we can read the data stream, parameters and sensors. Dang, there is so much data. Oh, and by the way, the ARS is the hydraulic sway bars that this thing has. It's actually a pretty rare but really neat option. Anyways, let's get out of there. Let's see if we can reset that. Supposed to turn it off. Wait 10 seconds. Back on. Still says it has a fault, but you probably have to read everything again. I'll just click on ABS. Read fault codes. Engine management interface. No idea what that means. I will say these BMWs and other like German luxury cars, they always have faults in them, no matter what, even like new ones. Pretty much you just ignore them unless you have like an actual problem you're trying to solve. We can also read the data stream, steering angle sensor, view all items, and let's see if it changes. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Could for sure come in handy if you have a problem with a specific sensor. All right, let's try the KGM, which is the body gateway module. 93 AB relay sticking, NPM relay on, read data stream, switch block, driver's door. Click on that, view all items. Oh, this could have definitely come in handy when I had the problem with the driver's switch block. Driver's door, opening. Oh, that is super cool. It does closing, and then if you click it on the second one, auto closing. That could definitely come in handy if you're trying to diagnose something. But let's check out the IHKA, read fault codes, fogging sensor, and aux sensor. Those always go bad in these vehicles, and they really don't do a whole lot. Let's read the data stream. Let's just do all, view all items. Oh, that's pretty cool. It'll tell you the evaporator temperature, interior temperature, fan control wheel. We're at 0. Turn it on. Oh, cool. It seems to respond. Go to 100. Dang, we got some really good information in here. Even tell you if transport mode is on. Oh, cool. It does have all of our flap positions and all that stuff. I could go through all of this stuff, but it is a lot. But anyways, let's go back. Sure you want to exit. Yep. Go back, and let's try to erase all system fault codes. Okay, it looks like the unit just reset. I've had it do that a few times while I've been testing it. It's a little bit annoying, but usually you just have to go back in. It looks like it actually did work. We have one fault that didn't delete. And let's see what special functions we got. Wow, we got a lot of stuff in here, more than I thought. And see, there's another page. If we click down. So first off, we have the CBS function. And this just keeps track of all of the services. And we can see all of that stuff in the iDrive. So here we have oil reset, CBS reset, CBS correction, and CBS delete adaptation values. Let's try a CBS reset and read through all of that. And it shows you the percent left on all of our services. Let's click on engine oil. But this part right here is really handy to have, and you can't find this information in the iDrive. So say you're buying like an older used BMW, kind of like this one was, and you can actually see how many times the oil CBS was reset. And this one was 14 times. And you can actually divide the mileage by how many times it was reset, and that might give you kind of an idea or an average of how often the oil was changed on this vehicle. However, it may not be exact because, you know, you can always reset it without actually changing the oil. So something to keep in mind, but we'll click OK. Engine oil reset. So let's see if that shows up right here. Oh yeah, it was 7,000. Now it's 16,000. Of course, you can go through and reset and check how many times it was reset before with all the services. But anyways, let's go back and let's go to CBS correction. Maybe in here we can fix the oil service that we just reset. But no matter what I did, the oil change would just go to 0 and said it needed to be changed. However, I was able to change the counter and then I just reset it. However, I could not figure out how to get the percent back to where it was originally. But anyways, let's go ahead and go back, and we can just go to the ECM. So basically those icons at the home screen are basically shortcuts, because these seem to be pretty much the same thing that we've already gone into. And that's interesting. We can do an idle speed adjustment. Now, I'm not going to really mess with that. Oh, I guess you could just do it for this drive cycle only, or you can do a permanent adjustment. But that actually might come in handy if you're experiencing like a little bit of a vibration at idle. If you like turn the idle speed up a little bit, that might actually help. But anyways, let's go to transmission control. And that's pretty cool. You can do an oil level adjustment, mechatronics adjustment, and you can reset the learning adaptations. Ooh, let's see what the adaptations are. I don't want to reset them, but it's a good thing to do if you replace the transmission fluid or change your solenoids. So that is pretty cool. It tells you the adaptations for each clutch pack, rapid fill times. You can reset them and then have it relearn when you drive around. Transfer case, this BMW is rear wheel drive, so I don't have a VGT, but if you have an X drive, that might come in handy. Next, we have battery management, and this was one of the shortcuts. We were already in here earlier. And electronic parking brake. So let's keep going. Steering angle learning. Information about it. It was not. So it says to place the steering wheel in the exact straight ahead position. Looks like we got a communication error. So some warning lights did come up, but they went away. I guess we could try that again later. But anyways, let's go to stability control, bleed routine. That's bleeding the ABS. That is pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if I can go through every single little thing in the scan tool. This video would just take way too long. So we have a tire pressure warning reset. Not 100% sure if that's completely necessary. Next we have electric fuel pump. It's not supported. Let's try the ECM fuel pump activation. Oh, I guess we can activate it for 20 seconds. That's useful. I don't hear it though. Should be able to hear it back there. And the ignition is on. I don't hear it. Yeah, I don't hear the fuel pump. So not sure if that works, but it would be nice to, be able to activate it. If you're trying to diagnose a fuel problem, the CAS reset, sure. It says it was reset, and I'm not sure what you would use that for. Let's make sure it still works though. Yep, still works. My battery is not very happy. Okay, it's a little bit later, and remember under special functions when we tried to do the steering angle learning? And we followed the instructions, and it gave us this communication error. When I went into the DSC, there was another adjustment for steering angle sensor, and this one was a little different, and I followed all the instructions. Turn the ignition off for 10 seconds, and then we turn it on again. Click OK. It was successful. It's nice and horizontal, and just to show you guys, my wheels are straight ahead, so it's not like they're crooked or something. And that is not good at all. It's supposed to be 0 degrees, and it's negative 1400. And now we have a nice little warning light. We got some nice little warnings there. It doesn't change at all, so I think something is not quite right. I'm gonna have to take my car to work and fix it there. But oh look, it just reset again. So yeah, this thing is not really turning out as well as I hoped. But now if we go back into the basic functions, manually select, let's go to the DSC, read fault codes, steering angle sensor plausibility, and look at the steering angle sensor, view all items. Yeah, it's negative 1400 still, and moving it has no effect. So okay, so in conclusion, all of the OBD2 stuff works just fine. It was super fast. You're able to read the emission monitors and quickly scan for codes. And also you could read all of the raw data. However, one thing I wish they would have put in this is some ability to do some graphing. They could have done a graph with like maybe up to 2 data sets at one time graphing. I think that would have been pretty cool, but it's just the raw data that you get to look at. Pretty basic OBD2 stuff, but if you're buying this, it's probably not gonna be just for the OBD2. So let's talk about the BMW Specific side of this tool. We were able to read all of the modules. I was surprised all of them came up, and we could go into each module and read the faults and erase the faults, and it also scanned all of them at one time. It would tell you which modules had faults and how many. So that was pretty cool. And also we could go into every single module and get all of the raw data, and that could be definitely very useful when you're trying to diagnose something like really like kind of specific that's hard to figure out. But yeah, it was pretty cool. We could go into the IHKA, look at all of the air flap actuator data, and it would actually give you a readout of all of like the knobs and the buttons and everything. Obviously we don't have like bi-directional control, so we can't like, you know, command the window to roll up and down. And obviously this thing has a bunch of special functions that kind of sort of worked on some of them, and the other ones did not. The biggest issue was obviously with the steering angle sensor. It completely nuked my steering angle sensor adjustment, and it didn't adjust it to the new setting because it was supposed to zero it out. I followed all the instructions. I tried it like 5 times, and it just made it some like, maybe it was like a default or something, but it was like negative 1400. However, I did take it to work and I was able to fix it, no problem. Now the steering angle is adjusted. However, that's a pretty big problem. It gives this thing a pretty big ding because not everybody has that ability just to take it to work and fix it. That's probably why you're buying the scan tool in the first place. And I'm almost wondering if it has something to do with this specific BMW because it has the dynamic drive with the hydraulic sway bars. Maybe something's a little bit different and they didn't get that right in the software. Maybe it'll work on other BMWs without that system. I have no idea. And there was also that other different steering angle adjustment section, and that just didn't work. I tried that a couple times. It just kept giving me a communication fault. And then also when we tried to activate the fuel pump for 20 seconds, I didn't hear it turn on. That could be useful for certain things, but that didn't seem to work either. Also with the CBS data, you could read how many times the service indicators were reset. However, when we went into the CBS correction for the oil change, I could not figure out how to get it to work right. No matter what I was entering, it just kept putting it at 0%. However, I was able to roll back the counter one and then just reset it from there. We couldn't actually change it back to the original percent. It's not a big deal. Most people probably don't need that function. Also, as far as the electrical system and the battery goes, that was pretty cool how you could do that voltage battery test, and it would tell you how low the voltage goes as you start the vehicle with that graph. But that was pretty neat. When we went into the battery registration area, it was kind of weird. It said like the last battery registration was, 0 kilometers. However, I know that's not true because I have registered the battery in this vehicle before, and a new battery's been registered like 1 or 2 other times. However, I didn't try to register a new battery exchange because, I didn't put a new battery in it, so I didn't want to do that. So I'm not 100% sure if that's going to work correctly or not. Other things like the ABS bleeding seemed to work just fine. It didn't cause any issues. It was activating the pump like it should. Also, clearing out the engine adaptations seemed to work. Also, said it was successful when it did the Valvetronic motor calibration run, and it did look like you could clear out the transmission adaptation values, and it was pretty cool. We could actually take a look at the clutch pack adaptation values. It could come in handy for some stuff. And obviously I didn't try every single special function. There's just a lot in there. And also the electronic parking brake, this vehicle doesn't have that, so I can't try that out, but I could see that being very useful if it does work. But that makes doing rear brakes on the newer BMW so much easier. And also I didn't see any options for it, but it does say on the online listing that you can code your fuel injectors. It might be because this is an N52 and it has port fuel injection. It doesn't have direct fuel injection. That's going to be for your N54 and like other engines and stuff like that. However, seeing what happened with the steering angle sensor, I don't think I would feel comfortable with trying to do something like that. Also, another thing to note is that we did have like some weird like communication problems when we would go into a section. It said it couldn't communicate, but if you backed out and then went back in there, it did work. So it's kind of weird. So all in all, the OBD2 functions seem to work just fine. And also the basic BMW functions where you can scan all of the modules, read all of the faults, clear all of the faults, and read all of the raw data and all of the modules. I think that works just fine. And as far as the special functions go, I think that's where this thing kind of lacks. It's kind of like half and half if it works or not, or even worse where it just kind of nukes your steering angle sensor data and you can't get it to 0. Also, there's a lot of special functions it doesn't have. Like I wasn't able to do the bleeding procedure on my hydraulic sway bars, and it is really cool when you're able to do that because it basically tilts the car back and forth with the hydraulics. It's pretty sweet. But those are my findings, and I'll let you guys decide for yourself. If you do want to pick this thing up, I'll leave a link down in the description below, and there'll be a coupon code. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you later. Peace out.